Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello, now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello, welcome to the Day 3 preview from We're Going Chasing. Happy to be joined tonight by Emma Nagle from Irish Racing and Mark Boylan from the Irish Field. Emma, Mark, how are you both getting on?
Good stuff now, Cillian.
Go ahead.
Thanks. No, just saying thanks for having me on. Yeah, great.
Likewise. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I suppose, sure, look, it's Day 3 now. We've already gone through the first couple of days. We've plenty of winners got at this stage, and we'll hopefully add a few more here. So we'll start off with the Turner's Novice Chase. So I think the fact to file was announced there last week that he's going to be going to the Brown Advisory, and then it looks like Gaelic Warrior is going to end up in the Arkle. So what we're left with then is Grey Dawning, Ginny's Destiny, 11-4, 130. You got Facile Vega there around 7-2, Iroko 5-1, and then it's bigger the rest. Emma, I'll come to you first. Where would you be looking in this race?
I suppose it's kind of an unusual one, like when you take out fact to file, the English are dominating the market in a Grade 1, which wouldn't be the norm, I suppose, over the week. I think they've only got 2 or 3 favourites across the 28 races. So, but to be honest, I'm hoping Facile Vega will go here. I just think, like, looking at the 2 English horses at the top of the market, Ginny's Destiny and Grey Dawning. I know Grey Dawning won a Grade 2 last time, but they're kind of more like very good handicappers in my mind, whereas Facile Vega, like, we kind of know he's a proper Grade 1 horse. Like, he's been disappointing, I suppose, over fences so far this year, but like, and he's peak hurdle form and Grade 1 winning bumper horse as well. I think he might just be kind of the classiest one in here. And I'm hoping Willie will send him here. Now, I'd say there's no guarantee because Willie's kind of always seemed to be keen to keep him to the 2 miles, but I'd say, like, just the way he jumps and things, like, he isn't I wouldn't really knock his jumping, but he doesn't really jump at the kind of speed you might like a 2 mile chase at the jump at. So maybe just going over the 2.5 might help him a bit. And while he was maybe a small bit disappointing last time at the DRF, like, I still thought he kind of saw his race out okay. So if he can get back to his best, like, if he can reproduce that run in Supreme last year, even, that should be good enough to win a race like the Turners. And I'd say stepping up and Chip could be the making of him. And I'd be surprised if there wasn't kind of more to come from him over fences, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% there. Mark, what do you think about this race?
I do think Emma's right that, trip wise is Facile Vega. It's worth a go here. I think he's just been disappointing in the main. I think, I was very happy when first time up. I was happy. You think last year El Fabiolo first time up over fences, you wouldn't have said he was foot perfect then, and he goes on to an Arkle. I thought Facile Vega was just as pleasing first time up over fences at Navan, beaten in the pocket, real solid form. And I don't like how this horse goes missing, and it's just kind of against my nature in general to go with a horse who does let you down at times, and he has done that. He has kind of bombed out inexplicably. But in general, when you think of Willie Mullins and the regard he holds this horse in, it is very unusual that he does keep the faith so much with this fella. I couldn't put anybody off him. I did a preview of Dan Skelton last week, and it caught my eye just how much they think of Grey Dawning. He said this is the best novice chaser he's ever had. Now, I'm not too sure. Like, he would have good hurdlers maybe in the past. He had smart chasers, in fairness, too. He said this is the best novice he's ever had. So you'd have to respect it if he came here. It's just a muddling Grade 1. I think it's the toughest of all the novice chases to try and solve at Cheltenham this year. And in that kind of case, I'd nearly rather try and look for a bit of value. And although he mightn't be everybody's cup of tea, I think Zana here is overpriced at 20-1 each way. I think you look at some of these horses and their overall abilities that they've shown over hurdles, and even now over fences, the likes of Ginny's Destiny, Grey Dawning, I don't think they're in the same league as Zana here in terms of the engine that's there. Zana here is, up Honeysuckle's backside a few times. He's been, I think, second in 4 Grade 1s over hurdles, and I think he's been placed in 2 or 3 more and third. He's third to Constitution Hill, beaten 3 3/4 lengths last year in the H3 hurdle. Like, he has some pieces of form, placed in champion hurdles, placed in triumphs. He has form that some of these horses would never have been able to get to. Now, this is chasing rather than hurdling. I do get that. But I just think at 20-1, you're getting a price about him that's each way value, relatively speaking. His form was winning third last time. I thought that was going to be boosted when Aspire Tower came down at Leopardstown earlier this week. So, look, I just think there's enough positives you can take from it. The running against Fact to Fight at Christmas wasn't bad by any means either. I think he's going to take all the beating in the Brown Advisory. So, look, probably one of the more tentative votes of the week, but just 20-1's Zana each way. He might carry a few bob each way for me.
Yeah, and there's plenty of 20-1 around Zana here there, so that's a good shout. I'd be in agreement with Emma and Facile Vega. I think he's the classiest of them, aside from maybe Zanahiro over hurdles. And I think if he did reproduce something like he did in Navan the first day up, it would probably go a long way to winning this. I'd say if it came really, really soft ground, maybe Grey Dawning, but I couldn't have Ginny's Destiny at all. For all he does have Cheltenham form, he's 3 out of 3 in Cheltenham handicaps this season, and he won the same race Stage Star did off £2 higher, so you have to respect that as well. And I know Nichols is very bullish on him, but I think I'd be a very tentative vote now to Facile Vega on the day. So the next race we'll move on to then will be the next grade 1 on the card, which is the Ryanair. We got Invoy here, the defending champion, coming back. We've got Banbridge up the top of the market as well, 7-2, Stage Star 4-1, Conflated, Capadano 8s, Field Door 12s, and then it's sort of a high senior. He's been a real move today. He's gone from a sort of 25-1 shot into 12s off the back. I think Frank Hickey really fancies him. He said he'd carry some of his money. So Mark, I'll come to you first. Would you be for or against Invoy here?
Geez, that's interesting money for a high senior. He's a bit of a headbanger for me, to be honest. Now he's sort of fella, if you went out with him for a night, you wouldn't know if he'd come home with him at the same time. He's a bit loose for me. Fraud, we know the engine is there. Envoy yeah, like I can see the case. You're going to want that trying ground. And it's funny, I've been watching some of the forecasts in recent days. Looking at that Norwegian weather thing, YRNO, I think they were nearly forecast at one stage, I think 17 mil on Sunday. I checked in this afternoon and you're down to kind of 12, and now I look this evening at 7. That rain count has kind of come down, and over the week it doesn't look to be particularly wet, having initially looked like we could get a good clatter of rain at the weekend. So for Envoy Allen's name, I think, the better the ground, the more it's going to help him. He's not totally ground dependent, but just for a horse with gears like him, I always think that's going to be in his favour. Banbridge is the same, but it's kind of a class query for Banbridge with me, because I really like him with a horse. I actually really like him. I love the way he goes about it, but I just wonder his very best form. I don't think that's as good as some of these horses here. Like when he got his conditions at Aintree last season and he won the Grade 1 Novice Chase, he's got Saint Roy a length and a half behind him, and Visionarian is in close proximity too. Like I just don't think Saint Roy and Visionarian are horses that you'd be thinking about here in the Ryanair. So I'd be happy to take on Banbridge. I actually think if we were to get a little bit of ease, I wouldn't be against Capadano as a proven stayer with course form at 8-1. He's a horse I've always really liked. I just don't know if it all fell his way last spring. Just felt a little bit rushed and hurried. When he bolted up with Punchestown as a novice, he then missed a lot of time, didn't come back to the Red Mills. I don't think last season went to plan for him. I was really encouraged by last time. Decent run of Christmas in the Sabbath as well. I just think in terms of class, I think he actually could be every bit as good. I think he's better than Banbridge. And I think if Envoy Allen, I know horses that people like to knock at times, it seems. He's got an amazing CV, but he isn't absolutely totally bomb-proof either. The one thing I'd watch maybe in this race is just how strong the market is on the day, because when the market seems to be strong with Envoy Allen, he runs accordingly. Like this race last year, he was punted off the boards and he duly delivered. Whereas, maybe in his comeback this season, it was a little bit chilly, the market, and it got it right. So I'd be paying attention on the day, I suppose. My confidence in Capadano will be based on how soft the ground is. The more soft it is, the more happy I'd be to go with Capadano. And also, if the market was screaming to me that Envoy Allen is the one, I have to take note of that too. Just marginal preference for Capadano, but Envoy Allen, I'm not going to knock you if you fancy that by any means.
No, that's very fair. Emma, where would you be drawn to here?
Like that show for Capadano, I was well. But I'm kind of starting to warn Bob Core. Like he cost a lot of money there at the sales a couple of weeks ago. I think 620,000. And just watching back his last 2 runs this season, like the first time I think he was behind Dino Blue in the Barberstown Castle, and then he went on and a very good second behind El Fabiolo in the Hiddyway down in Cork. But I suppose the question with him last year was he's jumping. Like I think they abandoned Novice Chase and he kind of made a bad mistake there in Leopardstown one day and lost all confidence completely. But they bought him back this year after a break, and I'd say like those tests of he's jumping in kind of 2 mile graded chases against horses like Stanton coming up to Cheltenham, and I'd say the step up in Tripoli, I'd say he should have a big enough shout, and like it's a very open race, like kind of like Mark was saying, like you can kind of have doubts about a few of the ones up the top of the market like Banbridge, first ground dependent. I'd be a little bit worried about not seeing Envoy Allen in so long as well, but I suppose you can't doubt his record of the track either. But I'd probably take a chance on Field way, I'd say.
No, that's fair enough. I think that's a good shout. You get about, I suppose he's general 12-1 shot, and then there's a bit of 10 there as well. Yeah, I'd be pro
Okay.
in
No worries.
Vialan myself. I think I was saying to him off air that like he just seems to produce it at two tracks, Cheltenham and Down Royal. And like if you go back to his Down Royal run this year, he was just outstayed by Jerry Colombe, and like he is a proper grade one horse as well. So there was no shame in losing there. And I think like looking back at his run in the Ryanair last year, he was a cozier winner than the winning margin. Like he travels and he jumped really well that day. I think he's just now 2.5 miler, and like I think he's about 4-1 still. So 7-2, and like I think that's a fair each way bet or a fair bet for a horse of his caliber, and in a race where you can pick holes in nearly everything. So that's the one I'd be going with there. So we move on next then to the Stairs Hurdle. I suppose Constitution Hill coming out of this has sort of moved Irish Point across to the champion by all accounts. It looks like so. You got Tiupu there for the same connections, 2-1. Irish Point is there at 4s, but it's looking like he'll run the champion hurdle. Crambo, Fergal O'Brien at best price 11-2. Noble Yates 9-1. Sir Gard 10-1, and then two-time winner Florin Porter, who's going to run here, is 12-1. Emma, I'll come to you first. Where would you be looking at in this race? Would you be with Tiupu or against him?
Tiupu's race to lose at this stage, really. Like I was with Constitution Hill coming out of the champion. They kind of more open now, but without Irish Point in there, definitely kind of getting harder to oppose Tiupu. But maybe at a bigger price, I'd say Noble Yates could run a big race for him at Mullins. I think they're talking about putting the headgear back on him again. I don't think he's worn cheap. I think he wore blinkers in Cheltenham back in January as well, and like he'll be powering up the hill late anyway. Like the Stairs Hurdle takes an awful lot of getting, and Noble Yates is kind of horse who always gets rolling very late on, so could be just the race that suits him nicely. I don't think Emmett was actually planning to go here originally. Like he kind of seemed to be saying that he was sending him for those 3 mile hurdles just to kind of prep him for the national, and they were actually talking about, I think they might have been talking about actually skipping Cheltenham, but I'd say just the way he won the last day, he kind of had to come here and go for it. And I think he's there 8 or 10-1. I'd say he won't be too far away anyway, definitely.
No, definitely. I'd agree with you 100%. And I think, to be honest, when was sort of said that Irish Point to be moving across to the champion hurdle more than likely, I think it just sort of, I thought he was the biggest danger to Tiupu at the time. And like for all you'd like to see Fergal O'Brien have a festival winner, I'd be firmly in the Tiupu camp here myself. I think Florin Porter is like he's a big price for a 2-time winner. I know he'd been chasing, he's going back over hurdles, but like it's worth noting he missed a bit of time after Christmas last year as well, and he still ran a good race in the Stairs, and like he's going to be a lead, and no one's going to take him on for it. And like you wouldn't know, like the stranger things have happened, like Sarge Burley, no one gave a chance to in this race last year, so it can throw up the odd freak result. So he wouldn't be totally out of it in my eyes. Mark, where would you be looking here?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with a lot of what both of you said as well. I think I'd be disappointed. There's a lot of horses here that I'd say if they're as good as we have in the staying division to win a Stairs Hurdle, it's not a very good sign for the strength of the division in general. Like as much as you'd love to see a Paisley Park winning for sentimental reasons, or a Dashel Drasher or a Sire de Burley, like those horses are old enough to really get served. Like I'd just be disappointed if they're the standard setting horses. And I think Tiupu, for all that he is obvious, it's kind of hard to get away from him. I'd agree with you. Irish Point looked his biggest danger. I just think he does make sense, but I wouldn't. It's a sort of race that he is in front of them all, I think. But I'd never like a horse who gets beat the first year at Cheltenham trying to come back and make amends the second year. It can be done. And I think he should have probably won last year. It's not often you knock a Davy Russell rider on Cheltenham, but I don't think he got this one right last year. And he probably should be coming here trying to defend the crown, I think. Again, he probably would like the ground to be soft for him, wouldn't he? He wouldn't like too much destroying up, albeit I don't think he's totally dependent on one type. You see how well he went through the Galmoy and Gorn on testing ground last season. That just is sticking in my head. A horse that can cope with that. Surely more rain would be in his favour. Yeah, and actually, you touched on it there. I think Florin Porter would nearly be the one that I would give a second chance to each way if you were trying to take on the favourite. I will stick with Tiupu, but Florin Porter, exactly as you said, like last year's run is probably not a fair representation of where he was last season. I don't think they got the clear run with him. I don't think it helped him in any way. It just felt a little bit rushed. Not in love maybe with the switch back personally this time from fences to hurdles. I think it's the right thing to do to win, but I think as far as the season goes, maybe it's not ideal, but he's with the right man to be able to pull it off if he could. You're getting rewarded at that price as well. I still think gun to head, Tupu is the likeliest winner, but it wouldn't be one of the more kind of, I don't know if I'd be sticking Tupu into multiples basically. I think you can throw a blanket over an awful lot of these.
Yeah, and it will be like there'll be plenty of them jumping the last in with a chance, you'd imagine. And I think at 2-1 he is very short, but to be honest, I think he is the most likely winner. So moving on to probably the most competitive graded race of the week, the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. You got 3 that looked like they've all brilliant chances, and all of their supporters brighter days ahead. The favourite around 6-4. You got Jade DeGrugy, the Solarina winner. She's 5-2, and then Dice Artinos, who's getting £5 off the other 2 mares, is best price 9-2. Mark, a lot of talk from Gordon's the last sort of few weeks about brighter days ahead. I know we'd Harry Swan on the day one preview, and like he's grinning ear to ear talking about her. They all seem to love her. Gordon, Jack, everyone, and she's really been steamrolled into favourite now. Would you be pro brighter days ahead?
Oh yeah, I would as well. I have to. I've loved the filly from word go, but geez, when you actually do like her, and you've all the preview, I suppose, seasonal preview stuff, putting her up as a horse to follow and all that. Not that it would have taken any great pair of eyes to see her as one to follow, but you see the hype now building, and it's not doing any favours for the nerves. It'll be a bit of box walking come Thursday, I think, with her. But actually, you mentioned Harry Swan there. I was on a Cheltenham preview with him last night in Aircore, County Galway. You probably know it well, Cillian. And I did give him a reference. I said, you started a bit of a bandwagon here, saying that we're going chasing podcast, said declaring this filly a certainty. And in fairness, I say that it's not, it's far from Harry alone, and this bandwagon has started before that. Like Gordon, the way he's spoken about this filly it's a little bit different. And I think in general, I was on a Zoom call with Ruby Walsh for press day on yesterday, it was actually, and he said he can only really remember 3 horses that Gordon has been this strong on in the past, vocally saying they could be this level, and Don Cossack, Sam Crow, Envoy Allen, 3 Cheltenham winners, Grade 1 winners, proper horses. I do think, though, to separate all my love for the filly out of it, like her CV doesn't warrant her being this short. It's probably the value has gone out of her. My hope is nearly that they come for something on the day, like a Dice Artinos. And, I just think you look back at the time form ratings, the last 5 winners of this race, I don't think any of them have got above 139 in winning on the day. If brighter days ahead can't run above 139 with what I think she's capable of doing, what they seem to think she's capable of doing, I'd be disappointed if she gets beat for all. This is a really, really good race. But listen, I said, I'm slagging Harry here there last night, but it's far from just him. This is like Gordon. There's a real spark when he talks about this filly.
Yeah, I'd be in the same boat as you. I remember watching her the first day in Gorn, and like seeing a 4-year-old going through really bad ground like that, and like she was only doing half speed compared to the rest of them. Like she's something special, and like that dam has produced like 4 or 5 top class horses. Like I was saying, Indiana Jones is a grade 3 winner over fences, placed in a grade 1, and he's the worst of them. Like the runs to litter, ratings, and like he's a very good horse in his own right. So like it's crazy really how she's produced so many good horses. But yeah, I remember that day in Fairy House as well. It was the same day they lost Mighty Potter, and like you could even see like Gordon was obviously very upset, but he was thinking about brighter days ahead, as well. Like pardon the pun, but he was like, and I think she's something special, and I'd be very disappointed if she was beaten. For all I do think Jade DeGrugy is a very good mare as well, and Dice Artinos. But that'd be where I'd stand. And Emma, would you agree with that?
It's probably not a betting race for me, to be honest. Just kind of the vibes seem to be so strong, kind of from all camps about all horses. Obviously, Gordon's are probably hard to ignore. To be fair, like Mark said there, like you don't actually often hear Gordon talking so kind of favourably, like saying she could be the best horse he's ever had. Like that's some statement to have, considering the ones I've gone through his hands. I think one of his top work riders is saying that as well. So can't take that lightly at all. But I don't think you can knock Jade DeGrugy and what she's done at all either. she was very, very good. I was there today in Leopardstown when she beat the Butcher's Hollow. Like, he's a decent horse, and she put him away there by 10, 15 lengths very easy. It's interesting. Brian Hayes was on our preview there the other night, and he was saying she actually wouldn't blow you away at home, but when she gets to the track, she's a totally different animal altogether. She's a big, massive, scopy mare. The fright, like they're both short enough. Like, to be honest, I can't really see. Fergal O'Brien's mare has the £5 penalty. Hard to quantify her English form, right? But I'd find it hard to see her getting in the mix with the two big Irish ones. It's a watching race for me, but yeah, definitely one of the most exciting races of the festival. I'd say some people kind of knock the race, does it deserve its place there, but it definitely does this year now.
No, definitely. And like, I suppose you could make the argument that if this race didn't exist, you would have brighter days ahead in Jade Grugy in the Bearing Bingham, the Gallagher, and you might have Di Sardinos in the Supreme, and like that they'd make both races significantly stronger. But I remember
I nearly
I said
in areas too, though, wouldn't they? They'd nearly
Yeah.
go away from 1-2, so we might get to see them at all at Cheltenham. I haven't always been in love with the race,
Yeah.
but with the proximity this year, we might never have got to see that clash too.
Yeah, I think what is it? Is it 15 days? No, 16 days from the Mayor's Novice to Fairyhouse. So like, it's more than likely neither of those will be running in that grade one. So it does I suppose show that as well. But I think we might just wrap up the sort of graded race on the day, and we move on to the handicaps. So the Pertemps, the Plate, and the Kim Muir. Mark, do you have any fancies in these races?
Unfortunately, I'm going to look very obvious, but I know the way you're thinking has been kind of high on the notebook all the year long for the Kim Muir, and I'm just hoping he's one of these that when you get to the day that, they're not going to be as short as this. I think there's a few cases like that at the minute where nearly some of these preview nights are kind of echo chambery, and one horse you can see an obvious case for keeps getting shorter and shorter. But I do think he's big chance. Like, I mean, he's going to have top amateur, given the connections, probably Eric O'Connor on him. Like, he's going to have proper assistance from the saddle. He's got that profile. You think of even the run of Christmas with Gaelic Warrior and Ilete Thompson, two are going to be top two in the betting and Arkle. You can back this horse in the Kim Muir. I think there's a lot going for him. And although maybe I'm snagging Paisley Park and a few of the older horses there, Sharjah is one I would give a little squeak to 20-1 in the Plate. I think the way he's been campaigned this season, got good performance at Galway, good performance at Tipperary, but I think since then it looks to me like he hasn't been good enough to be winning a grade one over fences, but has been learned a lot of it, got a lot of experience, especially for a horse that goes chasing later in life. He's been ridden conservatively, and I was encouraged by what I saw last time in the Irish Arkle. I thought, to a point, for all that I don't know if that's the best piece of 2 mile form, and have a better idea come Tuesday, obviously, but I thought it was a reasonable effort, and he's off 149 here. For a horse that's, again, maybe the Zanahiyr type of idea, a horse with an awful lot of class. He acts around Cheltenham. He's been placed in champion hurdles. Seddon won this off a mark in the 140s last year. This guy's in the mark of the 140s this year. I think this is in terms of natural ability, this guy is a proper horse. And I wonder, is he kind of one that have they thought, right, we're not going to be able to win a grade one, if he was to peak in the spring and come right decent ground, would that be a play for him? Although that stat that's going to get wheeled out all these previews, Billy Mullins, not for 43, I should say, in handicap chases at Cheltenham, has never won one yet before. So between St. Roy and maybe Meeting of the Waters, and if it hasn't come by then, maybe Sharjah might be the one to break that stat.
Yeah, and I suppose looking at the weather forecast, as you said earlier, like it should be drying out by the Thursday, so that will help Sharjah's chances there. Emma, anything in the handicaps for you?
In the Pertemps, I think his price is kind of go. I think I saw a few people tipping him, but it's the price. He was much bigger price a couple of weeks ago. But Gabby's Cross, I think, definitely won in there with a good show. He was given £6 by the BHA handicapper. He qualified there in Punchestown back in November, second there to Jodie's Head. He has to be ridden from the back, which is always going to be a bit of an issue in these big field handicaps, likely to run into trouble. He got into a bit of trouble that day in Punchestown, but still kind of a good second. Given £6 by the BHA handicapper, which might seem kind of strict on initial reading, but he did win the Galway Blazers off America 137. So on comparing peak chase form to hurdle form, he was able to win off a chase rate in 137. He's 133 over hurdles now, and the way he jumped fences, he was kind of a bit awkward at them. So maybe the case could be made that he could even be a better hurdler, even though he is a 9-year-old now. But He's been put away since qualifying back in November, and I've heard Darragh O'Keeffe tipping him up a few times as well. So I'd say he should have won a massive race there. And just to echo what Mark said, not very original, but I know the way you're thinking in the Muir, like just extremely exposed, and having Derek in that kind of a race as well is a massive plus. But I think Angel's Dawn could actually run a big race in there as well. Last year's winner, of course, I think she's 10 or 11 pounds higher than last year, but I just thought that running the TSTs last time might have even been a career best for her, to be honest. She went down the inner that day. She was third, but the two in front of her went down the outer. She probably wasn't the right way to go in hindsight in the end. But that was a very good effort from her, and this might be her final swan song. I think they're talking about retiring her at the end of the season, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see her run a massive race again. We kind of saw how well she set up the hill last year.
Yeah, no, she's a very consistent mare now, in fairness. And I'd agree with you on Gabby's Cross. I think he was capable of putting in a clanger over fences, and I know he was a real cliff horse of mine last year as well. So he was hitting the frame, and a lot of the big handicaps just probably his jumping was letting him down a bit. And I know we have Darragh on. He said there's only two hurdles in the last 7 furlongs on the new course, so that'll suit Gabby's Cross as well. And he's a really strong stayer, so I think he's probably around 10-1 now, but I still think he's a fair price at that. And in the plate, I sort of like Il Rodotto for Paul Nicholls. I know Freddie Gingell will probably ride him now. He's claim 5. I think Harry Cobden is going to ride Theatre Man in the plate, and like he seems to run well in all these 2.5 mile Cheltenham handicaps. He's very good form in the course, and he was 6th in the race last year. He's back again off the same mark, and the claimer is going to take off 5. So 16-1, I think he's a fair enough price each way. So that might just wrap up the Thursday. We might just get the best bets from both of you for the day. So Emma, if you want to go first.
Best bet on the Thursday, I suppose Tupu in the stairs hurdle is probably rock solid. And next best for me might actually be a Fildor on the Ryanair. I'd say he could run a massive race at kind of each way prices.
Mark?
Come on, we'll put more fuel in the fire. Brighter days ahead in the mare's Novice hurdle.
I'm going to agree with Mark here, and I'm going to go brighter days ahead in the mare's Novice hurdle as well. Very original, but yeah, I do think she will win. I suppose we can just start off straight away with the Triumph hurdle. I know there's been a lot of talk about Sergino the last couple of days and the 10 days of work that he's supposedly missed. But he is drifting a small bit. He's out to 2.13, Mark, was it you said, in the exchanges?
2.3, I think, there today.
0.3 in the exchanges, and he's best price now at 10-11. From 8-11, you got Majborough for Willie Mullins and JP 6-1, Cargie 7-1, Salvador Mundi, who hasn't ran in the UK or Ireland yet, 10-1, and Storm Hart 10s, and then you've got bigger the rest. Mark, sure, we'll start with you here. Would you be pro Sergino? I know he's very impressive at Cheltenham the last day, but he is a sharp price in a suppose a competitive enough race.
Yeah, like I don't have a lot of negatives for him. If you wanted to take him on, here a few though. I think obviously Nicky Henderson's a query over his stable form. I think 6 of the last 12 runners he's had in the past fortnight are pulled up. That's obviously not going to be ideal when you are lashing into one at a sharp price. But I think the way his runners fare early in the week, be watching the likes of Jericho, the Repine, watching how Iberico Laura gets on a champion hurdle for, you're not expecting to win, seeing how he runs. I think that will help give you confidence otherwise on that front. Looking at his strike rate for the month of February, it's not alarmingly low in comparison to other months. It wouldn't have me terrified, but obviously the horses pulling up is not ideal. The other thing I'd say is last 4 winners this race, all trained in Ireland. First 10 home in the race last year, all trained in Ireland. 6 of the first 7 home in the Boodles last year, trained in Ireland. Last 5 or 6 Boodles winners, all trained in Ireland. So when you are then going into a British trained favourite at a sharp price, in my head, I've had it just to wonder whether the very level of form in Britain in this division, albeit it's probably one of the most changeable divisions because these are 4-year-olds coming in, or 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, and it's a new category of horse every season. Maybe it is changeable, but I'd like to see how Nicky's run for early in the week, to be honest, before we back in Sergino. If I saw Jericho the Repine run a big one, I saw a few of them, yeah, I'd be happy to think that he's going to take all the beating. But if all didn't look entirely well in that camp, I think there are lively each way ones. I've been interested in Storm Hart because I don't think that the very best of him was seen last time. Massive impression at Punchestown, first him up over hurdles for Willie. and win by 22 lengths. Not a great race by any means, but won with any amount in hand. And I just felt it was slightly messy last time at the Dublin Racing Festival. Never got into a proper flow. He was kind of forward and back and wide, and he was kind of made a move, but he still didn't get first run. I just think, even having done a preview of Paul Townend last week, I nearly got the impression that I think the line he used was, just because I was beaten by Danny's horse, it doesn't mean I'm going to jump onto Danny's horse all of a sudden, Cargeese. So I give him a chance at around 10-1. I think he is a little bit overpriced. And obviously the interesting one is Salvatore Mundi, having met Sergino in France. Listen, huge ask to win a Triumph first time up, but we've seen Willie come here before with horses of a similar profile who have their novice seasons. Look forward to next year if they don't win here and gain big experience. But I watched back his run against Sergino. It's funny, like Sergino just looked so professional in that race not high last April. He travelled really smooth. He jumped much better. Whereas Salvatore Mundi was sticky at the first 2 or 3. Like, I think the margin between them is length and 3/4. He definitely gave away that and jumping at different stages of the race. And I thought the rider was overly aggressive at times. Then, not that I'm going to claim to have the keys to the kingdom when it comes to riding not high, but I just thought he got, for a young horse making his debut, he really sent them on. He went kind of all or nothing very quickly. Sergino was just really smooth, controlled. He did beat him with probably more to spare than in 3/4, but just I thought it was a fair run from Salvatore Mundi in the circumstances and how it all unfolded, and the vibes from Willie's in terms of the reputation he has. I know Emma was on a preview of Brian Hayes. He gave a good mention. She can tell you more about that. But I think if he was one again, if you could see there was a little bit of blood in the water around the Henderson camp, maybe you could get antsy with Sergino. I do think he sets the standard, but you just have to keep in mind Irish horses are winning this race usually. We're winning it with a fair few in the mix at the same time. And Willie Mullins, there's two at double figure prices, Salvatore Mundi, Stormheart. I can see them running well, definitely.
Yeah, so I suppose Emma, I was about to say you were on with Brian Hayes. He gave a warm mention to Salvatore Mundi the other night. Has he sold you there?
Yeah, like you can definitely see the case for it. Like Mark said about the race in France. I mean, it would be Willie would get some satisfaction surely buying a horse in the same race for the same owner, and then maybe overturning in Nicky Henderson favour in the Triumph Hurdle. He gets some kick out of that, I'd say. And like you said, like it's a free hit at it really. I mean, if he's beat, he's a novice for next season anyway. And if, like, Brian seemed to think, like, Brian has ridden working, and he was saying like he'll give you some feel, and he's trying to convince Paul Townend to ride him. Like, so if Paul Townend is jocked up on Salvatore Mundi, like he's going to be a much shorter price in the day than he is now. Like, so maybe he's worth a few bob each way anyway. But yeah, I'd agree with Mark. Like, it's kind of like Sergino's probably the most like just the form of the Henderson horse. Like, seeing how they're going kind of on the run up. Like, it's the Friday, so you can kind of see how they're going all week long. But it's definitely a bit of a worry, and I would say he's probably the most opposable kind of short price favourite of the week for me anyway. Like, you can't, I suppose, deny how good he was last time. He was very, very impressive. But you know, that question mark about the Henderson horses, and you'd have to have questions as well about like Mark mentioned, like the Irish juvenile, how strong that form is compared to over in the UK. And Majborough, another one obviously you'd have to give a mention to out of that DRF juvenile hurdle. Like, I'd say Mark Walsh was kind of nearly forced to go out in front with him. Like, looking at him, he's kind of going to be the one that improves the most, and these juveniles can improve at rapid rates. Like, a horse like Majborough, for that experience in a grade one more than the rest of them, and Willie did give him a dark horse, writing him off either in it, but keeping an eye on the Henderson horses, their form on the run up to Friday is key. But at the moment, I might have a small bet on Salvatore Mundi, just on the basis of Brian Hayes was quite keen on him. All right.
Yeah, I'd agree with what both you said there. The one I sort of like to take on the Fab would be Big Cargeese. Thought she ran a really good race at Christmas, for considering how keen she was, and she did settle a lot better the last day. And I just think there was, like, Danny obviously gave her a brilliant ride, but I thought people were sort of knocking her a bit, considering there was so much mess in behind, and it was Majborough or whatever else in behind. It was a bit of a messy race, but I wouldn't take an awful lot away from her. Like, I think she did it very well, and I'd say she'd a bit more up her sleeve than what the winning distance was. And like, she reminds me a bit of Gala Marceau, and I wouldn't be surprised if she ran a really good race. I don't know, maybe Majborough will reverse form with her Stormheart, but I do think at 7-1 she's a good each way bet, and like, there's probably going to be 5, 6, 7 of them in with chances, I suppose, in this race. It's not, and I wouldn't be taking the less than even money on Sergino anyway, when you do have so many good each way bets in the race. So that wraps up the Triumph. Then we'll move on to the Bartlett. I suppose it's Anthony Bromley said today that it looks like we're going to see Reed and Tommy Wrong, the Lawlers winner, run here. I think it's the right decision. Look, I don't think there's much to be gained for taking on Ballyburn over 2.5 miles, and Reed and Tommy Wrong is best price 6 at the moment. You got the Nathaniel Lacey winner, Dancing City 7-1, High Class Hero is 7-1, Gidley Park for Harry Fry best price 8s, Shanna Bob then for Nicky Henderson 10s, and bigger the rest. Then Mark, I'll come to you first here. Reed and Tommy Wrong, I think he's got a great shout here. Where would you think in this race?
Oh, this race now, as I said to someone earlier in the week, it'll give Muir a headache. I think this is very, very hard of all the novice hurdlers, the more than the Turners is of the novice chases, this is the one race I really, really struggle to be bullish about. 28 chances to win money at Cheltenham next week. This won't be the one that I'm ringing the bank manager and saying I've got a good idea. I have to say, I think High Class here looks like he's been mapped out for the race, looking to come that Penn Hill road. I don't know whether he's absolutely out and out grade 1 level ability, but he looks to be improving. He goes there with that profile that you like, coming the road less travelled. I pricked my ears, I suppose, the positivity. I was on a preview panel with Derek O'Connor, and he rode Dancing City against Ballyburn at Punchestown last season, and yeah, you definitely be encouraged as to the animal that he rode that day. He thought he's very, very smart horse. Felt he gave Ballyburn a fair test, and he doesn't know whether Manny would have given Ballyburn that sort of test, I'm paraphrasing, but something to that kind of effect. So his positivity with the horse and coming in a Dublin Race Festival grade 1 winner, that's still 6 or 7 to 1. Maybe he's a little bit underestimated by everybody, but look, maybe if you push me again in each way, possibly Lecky Watson. He might be the way. If an outright selection, I'd probably go with Lecky Watson, because I just think he is a persistent, staying, hard-nosed bugger who's just going to keep going and keep going. Fourth in the champion bumper last year. We now seen every horse in the champion bumper has come out and won a race since. Factified, he wasn't a million miles off him in it either, and I think he'll take a whole lot of beating the Brown Advisory. So, yeah, the run with Slade Steele looks really good. If you saw Slade Steele show up well earlier in the week, wherever he goes, that'll give you some encouragement. And it just seemed, reading between the lines, that Willie wasn't overly impressed maybe with how the race unfolded tactically for him in the Lawlers. So I'm not going to stand in your way and tell you any of these in terms of there's one standout form line. I find it by far the hardest of all the novice hurdlers. But if you're getting kind of 11, 12 to 1, Lecky Watson, I think you're kind of been rewarded for trying to find the winner, maybe, if he does click.
No, that's very fair. Emma, where would you be looking in this race?
I'd kind of agree with Mark. I wouldn't have massively strong opinions, and it's a very hard race. Kind of for punters, I think only one of the last 12 winners have been favourites, and a lot of kind of big price winners in the last few years. And good horses can sneak in here at big prices as well. Like Lilindo won this at 50 to 1. Willie's dominating the market again. If I was gonna, I kind of one I tipped up a while ago for this anti-post Croke Park, and he very disappointing last time in the Lawlers and Ace, but I think he was lame afterwards, the same as Firefox. He was just beaten too early that day to say it was his true running, and his form before that, I thought he looked quite progressive. He was obviously a kind of a big talking horse in the point to points. I think cost 400,000. He was beaten by a good horse, Willie's then in a Kilbeggan bumper. You ought to know, and he's going for the champion bumper next week, but really good winning he's made in Clonmel. Questions about whether he'd be kind of classy enough maybe for a grade 1 novice hurdle, but he's going to be the type who'll settle and stay, and in and out. But Bartlett's kind of what you want, and he's there 16, 20 to 1. He'd probably be the one I'd take a chance on. Looking at last year's race, I was kind of half fancying Aphrodite, and I wrote him off after a similar disappointing race in the Lawlers and Ace, and he went on to be second at a massive price. So I might just stick with Gordon's horse, but not a very strong opinion on it, to be honest.
No, that's fair enough. And I think Gordon's horses weren't running too well in general that sort of time of year, sort of the early January to up until the DRF. So I think it's probably worth noting that with Croke Park as well. I do like reading Tommy Wrong. I thought there was a lot to like about what he did in Nace, and he looks a really strong stayer. I think I don't know, Dancing City, High Class Hero, are they proper maybe grade 1 animals. I just think Reed and Tommy Wrong is just a bit more classy than the two of them, and he will see the trip out well too. I think Gidley Park, I think he's going to be a grade 1 chaser next year, but I just think maybe he might not be forward enough for some of the Irish horses here. And to be honest, I'd be happy enough to take on the likes of High Class Hero. Just that sort of summer form, it's hard to sort of figure out. And like I think that the race he won the last day, even the horse of Henry's that he beat, would be sort of rated in the low 130s. So I'd be sort of against him based on that. But I do like reading Tommy wrong, but it is a very, very tricky race. So we might just take a quick break there and loop in Darragh O'Keeffe, who's going to join us just to talk about the week ahead for himself. Delighted to be joined by Cheltenham Festival winning jockey Darragh O'Keeffe this evening. Darragh, how are you?
Good now, thanks, Cillian. All good.
Not too bad now. Obviously, Darragh, you're based in Henry's and you do a bit of riding for Mouse as well. So hopefully you'll have plenty of insight into a few for next week. So when are you heading over yourself?
I'd say I'm going to go over on Sunday evening. So yeah, I'm racing Limerick on Sunday. So yeah, go out Sunday night and be there for Monday then and ride out. And as I said, sure, it's the calm before the storm then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And you'll be riding out every morning then before racing anyway.
Yeah, right now for every morning before racing. So that's good. Like they're if you were waiting around to go racing, it's a long old wait there and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's good to ride out a few lots there and get you up in the morning and stuff. So yeah, no, it's good routine to have over there.
Oh, definitely. There's a good crew of Irish people over there as well, I suppose. So that's a good help as well. So I suppose just for yourself then, like how many rides are you looking at getting next week then, or do you know yet?
Yeah, I'm still up in the air at the minute.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll have a couple Tuesday. I'd say maybe Wednesday. I might have only the one Wednesday, and hopefully I'll have 3 on Thursday then, and I'd say maybe one Friday. So look, we're not mad busy or anything, but the ones I'm riding, they've as I said, they're nice rides to have.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking at, I suppose, the entries so far, Henry has a few running in the Mayor's Hurdle. You've won on Hispanic Moon the last day in Punchestown. Will you be riding her on the day, do you think?
Yeah, that's the plan anyway. Hispanic Moon. Yeah, no, she's been a lovely mare. She's not big, but no, she was really good in Punchestown. Our first run for Henry this year. After coming over from France, and then she was very disappointing at Christmas, but thankfully she had reasons for it, and she came back to form really the last day in the Covega Hurdle. So that race normally is a good stepping stone to the mare's race. And look, she's a nice each way price, and I think she'll run really well.
Yeah, obviously Lossiemouth, I suppose, is short favourite in that, but your mare was very good the last day, I suppose. And Lantry Lady as well. She's only had the 2 starts down in Gowran Park, but she was a very good winner of the Red Mills the last day. I suppose she's probably a horse that might be sort of maybe better over a fence, and maybe soft ground will be the key to her, will it?
Yeah, like I'd say the softer the ground, the more her chances will come. She's a fine big mare, as you said. She's a real chaser in the making, and she's been very impressive on what she's done in Gordon, and from even what she'd show you at home, she's the 2 times she's went to Gordon, she's been visually very impressive, and obviously she's stepping up in trip, but I couldn't see it being a problem. And she's probably the one mare in it that's unexposed, I suppose, but I'd say the softer the ground ideally would suit her chances.
Yeah, and as well, then tell me something, girl. She was running a great race when she got brought down a couple of years ago. I know fences probably didn't suit her as much as hurdles did, but like, she'd go with a chance as well.
She would, yeah. No, as you said, to the eye when she got brought down, she seemed to be going really well, and then obviously went chasing last year, and I suppose didn't get to the standards she's shown over hurdles. So back over hurdles now this year, and she ran really well at Christmas. Probably didn't jump great, and was a bit careful, but still ran well. And her run the last day, over 2 miles in Naas, finishing second to Zarek the Brave. Thought that was a really good run, and she seems to be in great form at home. So yeah, she's definitely one that stepping back up in trip, and obviously she's won the Mayor's Novice there at the festival before, so you'd have to think she'd have a good each way chance as well.
No, definitely. I know a lot of people are sort of giving Zarek the Brave as one that might hit the frame at a big price in the champion hurdle as well. So like that'd be a good boost to her if he did run well.
Yeah, it would. Obviously, Zarek the Brave was very good. He won the Galway hurdle and that, and he was, he was obviously ran really well at Punchestown behind, lost him out as well last year. So yeah, no, as I said, I think Tell Me Something Girl would definitely hold her own in the mare's race.
No, definitely. And then moving on to the Wednesday and the Grand Annual, you had great memories this race last year in Mascada, and like, geez, you ever a cracking ride to win that day, and like to give weight to Dino Blue and you see what she's done this year, you'd be going back with a lot of confidence, I'd say.
Yeah, no, she's in great form at home, and obviously, it's her first run of handicap since she ran that race last year. Her first run this year in Clonmel was she probably got tired on the day and possibly didn't see out the trip. And I'd say she's a one that likes a strong pace, but I'd say she'd prefer have something to aim at rather than her making her own pace. And she probably had to do that the last twice, and I don't think it really suited her. So the Grand Annual, there'll be plenty pace on, and she'll have something to aim at, and she acts well around the track. And yeah, I could see her. Obviously she's more weight this year, but it's an open enough looking race, and yeah, as I said, I think she'll definitely give her running again, and hopefully she hits the frame.
Yeah, and she saw it out really well last year, I suppose. Looking at the weather forecast, like it could come up as soft as it did last year, and that would really be help to her chances.
Yeah, exactly. She does act well on soft ground, and yeah, she's in really good form. She's freshened up well, and as I said, hopefully, it wouldn't be bad. It would be bad if she went back over there and produced the same result that she did there last year. To be great.
No, it'd be fantastic now. And just moving on to the big one then, the Gold Cup on the Friday, gentleman's game. Obviously myself and James were over that day in Wetherby when you won the Charlie Hall, and it was some performance for a horse, only having his third start over fences. I know Mouse is probably very confident that he'd run a big race. What do you think yourself?
Yeah, look, exactly. He's a very, very, he's still very unexposed, and I suppose some people would probably give him no chance going to Wetherby, and he obviously turned over Brave Man's Game, and I thought it was a massive performance on the day. Going there was only after having 2 runs over fences, and yeah, you'd have to be very impressed with him. Obviously he's a hard horse to train, but he's been trained by a great man in Mouse, and he's trained him for the day, and I sat in him this morning. He's looking and feeling great. So obviously you've Galloping the Champs in there, and he looks exceptional, and if he turns up, he'll be very hard to beat. But yeah, as I said, I'm really looking forward to riding him, and hopefully he gets there now in one piece.
No, definitely. And like for a horse that's so inexperienced, I think he's still being a small bit written off in the market as well. He's still a big enough price. Like you can get 25-1, and I know he hasn't shown, like he hasn't made too many starts over fences, but what he has shown is very good. Like he thumped I Am Maximus in the beginners at Leopardstown, and he probably needed the run and go, and then obviously produced that great performance over in Wetherby. So hopefully he can hit the frame, and it'd be great for yourself and the Mouse to see. It'd be great to see the Mouse back in the winners' enclosure. I think might be nearly over 10 years since he last had Cheltenham winner, so it'd be great to see him back there.
Yeah, sure. Look, Mouse is as I said, he's trained all them big winners before, yeah. And I think to be great to see him go back over there with it's great to see him with a horse like Gentleman's Game again. And as you said, he's in great form, and Mouse is happy with him. So to be great if he can go over there and run a big race. And I personally don't think there's no reason why he shouldn't. So hopefully.
No, definitely. And I suppose then just moving on from that, is there any horse in Henry's or elsewhere really that you think is well handicapped or something that could run well at a big price then during the week?
I think Gabby's Cross is a big chance in the Pertemps. I think he's a big chance. He's lower over hurdles than he is on chasing, but he's obviously won a Galway Blazers, and he'd been knocking on the door in them big Paddy Powers and things, but he's jumping could let him down. But I think the new course in Cheltenham will really suit him. There's in the last 6 or 7 furlongs, there's not many jumps in his way. So I think he's one that'll like that race. He likes to be dropped in a bit, and he's plenty of experience at big handicaps, and obviously he hasn't ran since Punchestown. He finished second that day, and the inside track ideally wouldn't suit him. So I think Cheltenham will suit him, and I could see him running a big race in the Pertemps. I think he's only 10 stone 7 on his back, so I think he'll have a big chance.
Yeah, I think he's around a 10 or 12 to 1 shot now. So that's a nice one, all right, and that. And then I suppose looking at, we'll say, if you were to say the best bet of the week, what do you think that'd be?
Look, it's you'll be looking at something, I suppose, a bit of value. It's like there's any of the short price favourites. I suppose you're I'm not a punter, but they wouldn't make any appeal to me. So I'd be looking for something like a Gabby's Cross or something, or something like that. As I said, to be Gabby's Cross each way, or one of those I'd be looking at anyway.
No, that's fair enough. And then, just to finish off then, and thanks a lot for your time, but I suppose just if you were to pick any horse to ride from any yard, what horse would that be?
I suppose it would have been Constitution Hill. I suppose obviously with him gone now. I think El Fabiolo. I think I'd love to ride him in the Champion Chase. I'd love to ride that race, and I'd say I'd say look, with a clear round, he's going to take all the beating. So I'd love to ride El Fabiolo in the Champion Chase. I'd say that'd be a good spectacle.
No, definitely, and he's an unbelievable horse, and hopefully he goes and wins that. I suppose I was sort of disappointed there you didn't say Gentleman's Game. If you did what Mouse did after that interview that time, they asked him would he swap Gentleman's Game for any horse in training, and he was like, no. I already
No, sure. As I said, look, as I said, sure, the Gentleman's Game, as I said, he's No, he's a very good horse, and as you said, he's probably going there under the radar, but that's grand as well. So as I said, he's in great form, and as I said, to be great if he went over there now and ran a big race.
No, that's definitely, and that'd be great to see it. But anyway, Darragh, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it, and best of luck next week.
No bother. Thanks, Cillian.
Moving on to the big race of the week, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Gallopin des Champs, an unbelievable winner of the race last year, is going to go for 2 in a row, and he tops the market at best priced 11 to 10. You got Faster Slow, who's beaten Gallopin des Champs twice, 5 to 1. Shishkin 13 to 2. Jerry Colombe, best price 11s. La Press, Brave Man's Game, Gentleman's Game, all 16 to 1. The King George winner, Hewick, is 20s. And then Corrick Ramler, who won the national last year, also 20s. So if you take out Gallopin des Champs, Emma, it is a wide open Gold Cup. Where would you be looking here? Do you think he's going to do 2 in a row?
This is the one I'm kind of most looking forward to all week, to be honest. It's such a strong field, but I think Gallopin des Champs could be right up there with one of the best Gold Cup horses I've ever seen anyway. And I love the way he's being campaigned this year as well. I saw actually someone tweeting about I hoping Woody doesn't run him at the Dublin Racing Festival because it might affect his chances at Cheltenham. But God, getting to see him going into battle against strong opponents 3 or 4 times a year, it's brilliant, I think. And I love this rivalry he's kind of built up with Faster Slow as well. I do think at his best, Gallopin des Champs, he can't be beaten by Faster Slow. Very good horse in his day, but I think the last day at the Dublin Racing Festival was the true running. Maybe the switch of tactics, they rode him a bit more forward. But at the same time, it kind of maybe might be in the back of your head, Martin Brazel's a fair shrewd man. Might he be just trying to get him to peak just right for that day in March? I think it's a fascinating rivalry. I'm on the side of Gallopin des Champs. Very interesting race, and I think maybe one who might be a little bit forgotten about is Gentleman's Game for Mouse. He's there 25 to 1. I'd say. I mean, as an each way bet, there's definitely worse ones throughout the week at that kind of price. He's massively unexposed, which might be a slight worry coming into a Gold Cup, I suppose. I think he's only after 3 or 4 runs over fences. But he beat Brave Man's Game in Weatherby, I think, on his third start over fences. So he's kind of horse who could be anything, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him run a massive race in a Gold Cup. And it'd be nice to see you one of big one for the Sharks, as well. I'd say the celebrations would be unmatched.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would like to see some of the smaller trainers, Mouse and the Shark. Like, imagine either of them got into the winners enclosure. It'd be great stuff. Mark, what do you think about the stress?
Yeah, geez, I can't imagine what a world would be like post Hewitt winning the Gold Cup. I think you probably, if you had shares in Guinness or in Diageo, to be going through the roof, I'd say, because the country would be celebrating. But listen, it'd be a brilliant result. Like, personally, I don't fancy him, but that didn't stop him in the King George. I didn't fancy him either. So, he's not a horse I've tended to get right. So they should be delighted if I don't fancy him. But yeah, look at Galopin Des Champs. You're getting a chance to back him at odds against, basically, now, for who on Racing Post ratings have down as the highest rated Gold Cup winner since Caught Star. If you take that very literally, he's obviously a play. But yeah, I think he's going to take the world of beating. The fast or slow thing, he is obviously a very, very good horse, but I feel the 2 days the fast or slow is beating him. He's caught him in circumstances that don't suit Galopin Des Champs. I think, the Punchestown, I'd forgive any horse for being over the top at Punchestown after the end of the season, and in particularly when you watch Galopin Des Champs, I think the most impressive part of the Gold Cup last year is when he jumps the last alongside Brave Man's Game. If you stop the video there and you say he wins 7 lengths, it just didn't look like it, and I thought it was a monster effort to pull it out from the back of the last line. I think that probably just told a Punchestown a huge effort like that. And then to be beaten in the John Durkin, again, a lot of people got antsy about it, but he's a horse who stays 3-2, ridden over 2.5 conservatively, not jumping well at a time when Ballyburn and Factified are beating on their seasonal comebacks for the same stable in the same window. Like, I think the 2 day Faster Slow is a very good horse, and I could easily see him in second. But I think the 2 days he's caught Galopin, you haven't got to see peak Galopin. I'd agree with Emma in the sense of Martin Brazel. You do get the sense that he can deliver these horses to peak to a new level when they get to March. Like, Faster Slow has beaten 23 lengths over an adequate trip at Dublin Racing Festival in his last start before Cheltenham last season. And he completely different horses at Cheltenham. So look, I get that, but I just think the Gold Cup for me boils down to, does peak Galopin Des Champs beat peak Faster Slow? And I think he does. And I think Galopin Des Champs will win. But as for an each way play, I actually think Cork Rambler is totally overpriced at 20-1 because he has a ridiculous amount of ability. Now, listen, he's no spring chicken, but he just probably took a little bit of time to get going in life early. It's not like he has been drilled early as he's not been out very early. He was kind of late bloomer in his point-to-point days. He's on 3 starts at Cheltenham, 3 wins at Cheltenham, won at the last 2 festivals. And I think the big thing with him is, you look at his margin that he wins by, it's never really representative of a superiority over the field. Like in the National last year, if you look back and you see, I think he beaten something like, he beats Vanillier 2.5 lengths, 2.25 lengths. If you say, is he 2.25 lengths better than Vanillier, he's absolutely way better than that. Like, he pulls it up when he gets to the front, but you get the impression in a Gold Cup like this, where you need something coming on late, I think he'll be the one finishing like a train, and I could see him picking up place money at 20-1. They've obviously campaigned them for the spring horse. Their national mark is secure now, and actually that's a fairly attractive national mark too. But in general, I could just see now, no holds barred, have a go, 20-1. I could see him placed, but I think Galopin Des Champs, we might just be dealing with a talent that is, in the realm of really, really top staying chasers we've had in recent seasons. He's well up in that conversation early.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on Galopin Des Champs there. I think that in the John Durkin, especially, like when he was ridden with restraint, he's just not the same horse. I remember being at Leopardstown the day he won his beginner's chase, and like you'd have your mouth open, like looking at him. He was absolutely unbelievable. And like he seems to be just at Leopardstown, he's just a different beast, especially when he goes in the front like that. That performance at Christmas was absolutely scary. Like, who I can't remember any horse that I've ever seen do something like that, and he beat a really good field. Like Jerry Colombe bet 23 lengths. He's a very good horse. Capadanos came out and won a Cotswold chase since he was beaten similar distance, and like, a lot of other good horses in behind. You just, like, when he jumped off, you knew he was going to win the race, and it was just a question of how far. But
do you think they'll go forward with him again in the Gold Cup, or will they, I suppose, like over the 3 mile too, they might want to be a little bit
I don't think
conservative, will they? No,
they don't need to be as chilly as last year, but I think I can't see him leading.
Yeah, I can't see him bouncing out the front. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Even like Shishkin, more than Cork Rambler, he's a little bit older, but Shishkin maybe more miles in the clock. I don't think any horse that age has won the Gold Cups and School Down years and years ago. Like that's against maybe the likes of a Cork Rambler, but I don't know. Even Jerry Cullen was obviously very good, but I just wonder. You look back at last season's group of staying novice chaser as well. Like it's kind of hard. If I asked you who the best horse is that Jerry Cullen beat last season, you kind of have to think about it. And I know he beats Envoy Allen this year, but to me he has a little bit to prove. But they seem to think it wasn't the full version of maybe Jerry at Christmas. So, but still a big gap to close down, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a huge gap. And I'm of the opinion Galopin Des Champs won the Gold Cup in spite of the way he was ridden last year. Like, I think if he was even, like, if they knew he was going to see out the trip like he did, they wouldn't have ridden him with that kind of restraint. And I think that they'll loosen that this year. And I think we could see another unbelievable performance, to be honest. But I'd agree with them. A Gentleman's Game as a horse I love. I'm running over to Charlie Hall and, like, seen him jump in the last, and like I know he got a bit of weight from Brave Man's Game that day, but if you asked Darragh, he'd have won anyway. He just jumps and stays. And
Mouse 11 peaked for the day as well. We no doubt about that.
That's it, yeah. And I know he probably is a small bit of he's a hard horse to train. And we just heard from Darragh there, but he is like Mouse. Look, he's won all these races before. I know it's a few years since he had a winner at Cheltenham, but he will have him ready. And I think at whatever you say, I'm at 25 to 1. He's still a huge
around
price.
About that, I think. Yeah.
I think he's still a huge price, and he might be a small bit sort of underestimated, but it's a very competitive race, and you can make a case for 7 or 8 of them in behind Galopin Des Champs for place money and even for winning the race. But yeah, it's definitely the one I'm most looking forward to in the week. So it's nice that the whole thing is going to build up to the Gold Cup. I know in some years we mightn't have had that, but we definitely have a very good group of staying chasers at the moment. So the last race we'll cover in depth, I suppose, will be the Mayor's Chase. I think Impervious being ruled out for the season took a bit of a knock out of this. She was obviously a brilliant winner of it last year, and she was the top mare in the chasing division last year. But we got an able replacement in Dino Blue. She's stepping up to this trip over fences the first time. She's even money. You got Allegor de Vassy, 4 to 1. Limerick Lace, 5 to 1. Bride's Hill, 8 to 1. Then it's 20s bar. Mark, Dino Blue, she's one of the bankers of the meeting for many. Would you think she'd win this?
I think she'll win it. Of the shorties, I wouldn't have her in me kind of top 3 shorties, but I do think she probably will win. Like, stamina is the query that, seems to be a lot of the people are trying to pick holes in her with, and I do get it. It is something new to try. As I mentioned, I was on that preview at Ruby Walsh or on the Zoom call, and when I asked him about this race, I just said, Dina Blue, stamina, do you think she'll stay? He said, pedigree-wise, thinks she'll stay. It says 2-1 at Leopardstown. Horses that can do that in grade ones, he feels generally will stay. And he said he thought the run in the Grand Annual last year where she makes a mistake in the second last and is not totally fluent at the last either and still keeps on. He wasn't concerned stamina-wise. Now, maybe, look, that's what that camp have to go there thinking too. But for me, Allegory de Vassy, it was a painful one last year. She was one of my bankers of the week last year. And I'd be kind of an unforgiving fella from a punting point of view that when you see a horse get to a winning position like that, and she did look like travelled like God Almighty and just didn't see it out. She wears the tongue tie. I just struggled to get into bed with her now again after that. Your trust, when you see them do that once, and especially at Cheltenham do it once, maybe they'll ride her very chilly and hope it falls apart, a bit like last time at Nace, and just try and pick up pieces. But no, she's not a conveyance now that I'll be trying to follow in on. I can get the case of Limerick Lace. Again, that family, she's a full sister to I Know the Way You're Thinking, trying to uphold hopefully family honour after I Know the Way You're Thinking in the Kim Muir on Thursday. But look at I just think Dino Blue CV much more solid. You're taking a little guess and stamina, but if she did prove she said the trip, she'd probably be shorter, wouldn't she? And she's a half to Blue Sari as well. Blue Sari, remember, he was running an absolute blinder in the Coral Cup 2.5 and he came down at the last. So look, I think she probably will stay on balance, but it's not one of the absolute banker shorties I'd have for the week.
Emma, would you be in agreement there?
Yeah, I'd have Daniel Blue down as a banker. For me, anyway, just I get the stamina concerns, but I think she's run over the 2.5 miles once. I think at Fairy House. in that that grade 1 mares novice hurdle. And like, if you watch that back, I thought she actually hit the line quite well. So I wouldn't be maybe as concerned as others might be. And like, on ratings, like, I mean, you can make a case for Gavin's 2, Bride's Hill and Limerick Lace, but like, on ratings, Dino Blue is just miles ahead of them. Like Mark said, Allegory Devassi, I find her hard to trust. Like, on her day, she's very, very good. But Dino Blue is just a lot more consistent. Like, her runs so far this year have been very, very good. Beaten by El Fabiola last time. It's no it's not a big knock to her form, I suppose, but like, yeah, her jumping let her down a small bit last year in the Grand Annual, but it's kind of funny in a way. Like, her jumping can be her biggest asset, and it can be a bit of a danger. Like, she's just, I say, she's just mad brave, and she can clatter one, but she's just so fast over her fences as well. Yeah, I really fancy her, to be honest. I'd be surprised if she was beaten. I just think she's the best mare in the race.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. I think, like, you can have your stamina concerns, but I do think she's by far the classiest horse there. And if it is a case that she is wilting, I think that the class might just see her home there. And it's not as if Allegory Devassi herself is a really strong stayer at the trip. And she did wilt a bit going up the hill last year. So I would be in agreement with you, Emma, that she is probably one of the bankers of the meeting. So that wraps up I suppose the graded races on the Friday. We'll come on to the handicaps and the Foxhunters now. Do either of you have any fancies, Emma? Better days ahead in the Martin Pipe, maybe?
I do like better days ahead in the Martin Pipe. That might be a bit of bias now, but like, I think he was given £4 by the handicap over in the UK. And it's a race Gordon likes to target. I think, I mean, like, he was a good bumper horse last year, kind of unlucky to fall first time out. In Down Royal, I thought probably the standout of his form is that fourth behind Slade Steele and Navan. Was that a grade two novice hurdle? I thought he actually might have been a bit closer that day. Did he get a bit squeezed for room, and he made a small bit of a mistake at the last? But that was a very solid run, I thought. Hard to knock him too much on the last run. He was beaten by Asian Master, who's kind of developing into a decent novice hurdler for Willie Mullins, but he was conceding £15 to him that day, and that was over 2 miles as well. Like, this lad's a stayer. Stepping up to 2.5 will suit him more in the Martin Pipe. And Gordon's got some really good young conditionals. Like, if Danny Gilligan was jocked up on him, I'd really, really fancy him for this one. And I have a strong fancy in the county as well. I'd love to see Zenta going there. She has entries in the mare's hurdle as well. But with Willie having such a strong hand at that, I'm kind of hoping he might send her here. Like, I think Willie and Dan Skelton have won, I think, eight of the last 9 county hurdles. And I think, like, age profile of the race, I think 8 of the last 12 winners have been 5 and 6 year olds. Like, Willie likes to kind of target it with these kind of young, progressive hurdlers, and she definitely fits that bidding. Like, she was grade 1 juvenile last year. She was only beaten by Lassie Mountain Gallimar, so in the Triumph. Like, I suppose, kind of a strange start to the season. She went chasing, disappointed down in Cork, and they abandoned that and went back hurdling. But I thought her handicap hurdle debut at the URF was really eye-catching. Ran on well there in third, and having that experience in the big field handicap should stand to her coming into the county. So I'm hoping to see her going there. She'd be kind of one of my better handicap fancies of the week if she shows up.
No, that's fair enough. Mark, do you fancy anything in the county or the Martin Pipe?
Yeah, I leave the Foxhunters to yourself. Maybe you can impart some wisdom on us there for that. But that's my special subject of mastermind, I can assure you. Yeah, like, I can definitely see the case for Zenta. Same race at the Dublin Racing Festival. Magical Zoe, I'd take her as one from that as well. I think she's a bit of value. Last year in the Mayor's Novices Hurdle, like, if you have backed this one in that race, I'd say you're only just getting over the counseling sessions now, the way she flashed home. She should, I thought she would have won on another day. It was a huge effort in the circumstances. And I really like to look for her. I take that view as well with Henry de Bromhead. I think last season was another example of his horses really coming to life at Cheltenham again. You look and you think of, even we always talk about the winners, your Mascadas, and Envoy Allen was obviously very good too. But even a horse like Captain Guinness last year, who you couldn't really fancy going into it, he runs eyeballs out in the champion chase. He had lots of horses run really, really to their absolute max, including this filly, and I could just see maybe another level of improvement in her to possibly to play a part there. Absurd is one I had high on the shortlist as well for a long time, thinking about him for a county. And again, he kind of comes to that road less travelled too. He's been in Killarney, he's been at Galway. I thought he caught the eye last time behind Ballyburn. Again, if Ballyburn and Slade Steele do show up well earlier in the week, I think a mark of 138 in Britain for Absurd, for a horse who has won an E-Bar off 104 on the flat and who's ran an absolute blinder in the Melbourne Cup. His jumper needs to tidy up a small bit maybe, but you could have said that maybe with Stateman going into his county hurdle as well. So they're two for me in the county. For all of the teams like the Garden Idiot Camp are licking their lips at the thought of an unchanged mark of 140 between Kingsfield in the county. And the Martin Pipe, it's been a bloody sickener with watching Keita Bourbon's price collapse in the last while because I think he's tailor-made for the race. And I'm just hoping it's one of these cases that when you get to the day that these horses will come out in price, because, you know, for a 24-runner conditional jockey's handicap hurdle, in which there look to be a few different plot horses involved, I can't see him being the 7-2 he is at the minute. I'd really hope he does come out in price because I think he's an absolutely smashing chance. Good on, for all that he wasn't overly flash last time, the clock was good relative to the other hurdle races on the card. And I just thought the way he won his maiden hurdle at Nace, I thought it looked like a horse that could have, you know, even first him up really like that. I thought there would be an awful lot of upside to him. And 140 mightn't underestimate him. The vibes coming from Doe Sutton really, really seem to be positive from what you hear on the preview night circuit, which obviously hasn't helped the price, unfortunately. But yeah, look, I just think Keita Bourbon, hate been obvious in a race like that, but he could be kind of one of these Don Poli. Okay, he's faster than Don Poli, I hope, anyway, but he could be one of these kind of, you know, future graded horses in a handicap. I think he's got a really nice profile.
He's a brother of that Keita Paris, I think, is he?
Oh, that'd be a good shout. Actually,
I think he actually is, yeah.
That's a good shout.
They taught an awful lot of that Keita Paris last year as well, but he just disappointed a bit.
Big time,
but yeah,
yeah.
I think Michael O'Sullivan's hoping to ride him as well, which would probably not help his price on the day.
Don't be telling me that.
I'd say your hope of that drifting on the day has potentially gone out the window.
We have a column in Irish Field called Horses to Follow, and put him up for that as a Martin Pipe horse. There was no betting for the Martin Pipe. He wasn't in it. Well, there was betting, but he wasn't in it. And I was thinking, this will be grand. Just you're watching him, and he's in it 12. That'll be grand. Just let something else pop up with it. No, 12, 8, 7, and then 7-2 in a day, and we're going, oh, geez. So listen, hopefully there's a bit of a little bit more value. Even like your each way terms. I'm not trying to be telling fellas go too handy, but like, I mean, on the day you're going to get 5 and 6 places in a lot of these races that you're not getting right now. No, I think there is, particularly in the handicaps, I'm happy to keep my powder dry unless you found something at a big price. You think there's going to be a factor at swings like ground where there is a big jump.
Yeah, no, that's very fair, and I'd be of the same opinion, to hold fire until the day till you see the better each way terms. I'd be in agreement on Magical Zoe in the county hurdle. I think she has a great chance. Look, she's only been out of the first two once, and that's when she tried 2.5 miles in Fairy House for the Grade 1. And look, she probably doesn't stay. Like, for all it looked like she would stay that trip when she rattled home in the Mayor's Novice last year, she just probably doesn't get that trip. But she's a very good horse over 2 miles, and I think she'd have a right chance there. And like the form with the Irish Point, like if he runs a good race in the Champion Hurdle, like he doesn't even need to win it. And like, I know she got 13 pounds off him that day, but like if he was to run to a 160 rating or 150, high 150 rating in the Champion Hurdle, you'd be sort of thinking she'd be well capable of winning off her current mark in the county. And then in the Martin Pipe, I've gone for a bit of a left field one in Canto Bruno, for Gavin Cromwell. I'm not fully sure is he even going to run in the race, but if you look back at all his wins, they've came off a break, and he hasn't ran since the 27th of December now. Look, he was very impressive when he won at Cheltenham back in the October meeting. Look, he's very disappointed in the Royal Bond, and disappointed again on a handicap debut in Leopardstown at Christmas. But I think maybe he could just be a really good horse fresh, and just struggles to back up his runs. And like, in fairness, Gavin Cromwell, no more than we said about Henry, his horses do peak around Cheltenham, and he's had plenty of Cheltenham winners the last couple of years. And you know, if you were to see the likes of Florin Porter and such run well, you'd be saying maybe this lad would have a chance. And I think he did win over 2.5 miles on the old course in October, and this is more of a stamina test. But I'd say, like, yeah, it's hard to know, but I think at 18-1 he's worth a few quid each way if he does line up in it. But it's just a bit of a pity, you know. Keith can't ride him because you nearly guarantee Keith to be coming swinging. He'd have him hard held on the right.
He'd be nice after that race now from Michael Sullivan. Keith O'Donoghue would be cool too, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I know, but it's just a pity he can't ride in the Martin Pipe. So I suppose just before we wrap up, then I'll get your best bets on the Friday, and then look, if there's anything else you fancy across the week, you can just pop it in now as well. So Emma, I'll come to you first.
Best bets on the Friday. I really like Zenta the County Hurdle. If she showed up there, she'd probably be one of. No, sorry, I'll go Gallopin Des Champs in the Gold Cup and Zenta next bet, I suppose, because Gallopin Des Champs kind of drifting out to a backable price now. Is he going out to around 11 to 8 or something? I saw him at today.
He's 11 to 10 about, yeah. He might be a bit bigger in this.
Sorry, 11 to 10, 11
yeah.
to 10, yeah. But even at that, I think he's backable. Like he was even money earlier in the year, and you know anything bigger than even money, I'd probably back him at, because I find it hard to see him getting beaten. Zenta be my next best then I'd say.
That's fair enough. Mark?
If I can get 5-1 plus Key to Bourbon, I'm happy to go with that. But in this, as it stands at the minute, I go Magical Zoe each way in the county as my best bet.
Yeah, I think by one, I'm going to go Gentleman's Game each way in the Gold Cup. And then is there anything else that you fancy maybe in day 1, day 2 that you didn't get a chance to mention?
I like Delta working off a lot in the cross country. I feel, Manel Indo, I really like the horse. So it's absolutely nothing personal against the horse, because he's a smasher.
Don't upset him now, because he's just over my shoulder here now.
It came over your shoulder.
Yeah.
I felt the pressure and I opened my mouth about him. But I just think they're 2 11-year-olds. The way this race is priced, it's like, oh, Manel Indo is a Gold Cup winner here. I don't think Manel Indo, how priced he'd be in this year's Gold Cup if he was lining up in it. He's had his last 9 starts. He's pulled up 3 times, been tailed off in a Ladbrokes Champion Chase. His last win is beating Hurricane Georgie at 3/4 of Punchestown. Really good start to cross country. This is the last time giving away. Absolutely. But like Delta Work he's a master around here. Like he's going for 3 in a row in the race, going for 4 festival wins. And it's Gordon Elliott, you have total confidence that Henry obviously can do it as well. But Gordon is proven track record in this race of knowing how to get them there. He's made no secret of just 2 days in the whole year he wants them for. This is the first one, then it's the national. And I think as well, you look and you think Manel Indo on his day, the 2 of them are now 11. Manel Indo, very, very good horse on his day, but Delta Work is no slouch either. It's not going to be a massive gap between these horses and peak form and standard chases. Like Delta Work's a 5-time Grade 1 winner. I just think you have a horse who knows the track inside out, is with connections to know how to target this race and win it year in, year out. If there is an ease in the ground, it's going to be absolutely no issue to him. And I just think you're getting it. For horse going for 3 in a row and you're getting 3-1 about him, I just think Delta Work, he's a smashing chance. Given just a little bit later in life, I think there's a little bit more inconsistency that's come into Manel Indo. So he'd be really, really strong one for me. And sure, listen, he wouldn't need to be Stevie Wonder to see Ballyburn and Factify winning as well on the Wednesday. It's, they're, for me, doubling them up makes a lot of sense.
No, that's fair enough. Emma?
Yeah, like I suppose Tuesday's kind of a lot of short price ones that are kind of hard to oppose in a way. I suppose in the Supreme, maybe look, Willie has a lot much hotter ones in there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Asian Master won a big race at a big, very big price. I think Tom Costello's probably going to ride him again, probably one of the tallest jockeys you'll see riding, around 6'4". But I thought he looked progressive this year, and he's a horse who does very little wrong. But Willie has much more fancy ones in there. But probably one of my best ones on Wednesday would be in the champion. No, sorry, what was I looking at? Oh, sorry, the Grand Annual. Yeah, I really fancy Saint Roy for the Grand Annual for Willie. Look, he's not a big fancy price or anything. I'd say he's only around 7 or 8 to 1. But like he was a Grade 1 novice chaser. Look, he disappointed last time, I suppose, at the DRF. But if you look back at his run before that in Fairy House in the Dan and Joan Moore handicap chase, like he was eye catching that day under Jody McGarvey, staying on well in the end. I think he was dropped a pound for the run, in kind of going up and down a bit. He's up to around the mark of 151, I think. But he was a Grade 1 winning novice, and I say back in handicap company, he should be good enough to be effective there, but has plenty of weight. Those handicaps can be tricky, but I'd be surprised if he wasn't bang there and trying to break that record of the Willie Mullins handicap chase winner. He has plenty of good ones to aim at over the week.
No, that's very fair. I suppose that just wraps up the day 4 preview. Look, thanks a lot to you, Emma, and Mark. And I know, Mark, you'll be over there, so we might meet you for a pint at some stage. Emma, you'll be at home working for Irish Racing, which I'm sure you won't be jealous of us at all being over there.
No, not at all. No.
Don't tell my boss you're going to see me for a pint.
That'll be after racing's over, Mark. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
You're working. I'm drinking. That's fair enough. But thanks to you both, and it was great to have you both on.
Great, thanks, Cillian.
It's Honeysuckle and Rachel.